Hey, everybody, how are you? Welcome to Creating Connections to Scale. You're here for strategies, our bonus masterclass. And I'd love to really just thank you for joining me and really just welcome you and just say hi. So let's get the housekeeping out of the way. And thank you so much for your incredible patience because, as always, with full transparency, grateful for my tech experts and lots of incredible support on the back ends because none of this happens without you. So I want to thank you for magic and especially for your patience. Heads up, and here's a really good joke. Mel always loses internet. So, just in advance, just saying hi, just letting you know in case the Wi Fi or the internet actually disappears. And you'll love it because I was so excited to pop in to see you today that there's no webcam. It's just you and I. And I really want to thank you for that today. So, when you have a chance, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper or grab your tablet, sit back and relax. Use the chat for us to kind of stay in touch so that I know how you're doing. Let me know. I want to thank Rick for being here. I want to thank Cheryl for being here. Thank you, Carla, for popping in. I'm a virtual toast girl. And let's be straight. Kick off your shoes and relax and really just sit back because today we're going to talk about you and ways to help you as you're creating connections to scale. And with full transparency, strategies are kind of the mission controls that we're going to talk about to kind of light and monetize and help you monetize in a way that helps you monetize with transparency. Your questions are so welcome always. And I'm a teacher's kid. I'm a raise your hand girl. And that's what I want to invite you in today. You are so in the right place, whether you're joining us live or whether you're joining us later on demand. Hey, Marie, how are you? My sister from another mother is in the house. And we have a plan for today. And you're going to see the plan as it unfolds a little bit. But what I'd love to talk to you about, I'm going to send you a really cool workbook for you to play with later. But right now, let's just focus in and kind of just say hi and just settle in and grab that pen. Let me know in the chat if you need to run and go and get a piece of paper or a pad. And my suggestion would be as we're getting started, I'm going to talk to you about today's plan, which I promise you. There are 8 steps to today's plan. I'm a teacher's kid, no homework. So we're only going to cover the first 6 today. The first 6 are your chance to play in our safe lab as we're experimenting and trying to help you work on what I call your blend. So it's elevate your blend is probably the way that we're going to start today's plan. It'll be the first step. And your blend is basically your formula that you're going to play with and you're going to tweak and you're going to check in and you're going to let me know whether it's working or not. And I'm here to help you. You're going to let your team know. You're going to check in with others. And elevate your blend is the place we're going to start today. And you'll see in the handout later. If you've got your sheets of paper, let me know. But it should look like this. Think of 3 columns. One is IRL, in real life or live, which we are now. Think of online. Make that middle column virtual. Make that last column hybrid, my blend. So you've got a blank sheet of paper and you've got three columns. And let me know when you're all set up and you're ready to take notes, and we'll go on to the next step of today's plan. But the first step is elevate your blend. And it's just, how do you create a formula that combines what works for you in person, what works for you online, and then combine both. And we're just going to keep pulling elements from both of them. And I'll be straight up with transparency, cuz that's why we're here, to elevate with transparency. One of the things that's hardest about it is, where do you start? And we're starting at the beginning. So the first part is elevate your blend. The second part is magnetize. Magnetize is, you're going to try and create a magnet. And that magnet you're going to use to monetize, whether it's attracting new clients or it's attracting new collaborators, whether it's helping you take great steps, whether you're new in your business and you're just starting to really experiment, you're going to figure out where that magnet leads. The third part will be building trust. And that part I'm kind of taking really seriously these days, because I've just gotten certified in trust styles. And I just went through a trusted leader certification. So I want to share some gems from that, because without trust, we don't get to that monetize with transparency. Without trust, those personal relationships, those online relationships, those professional relationships, they don't go anywhere. And the next step we're going to do is align. So elevate your blend and magnetize and building trust and align. And the next step is leverage. And that last step is chemistry. And those are the 6 steps we're going to cover today. And one of our amazing, amazing colleagues, Carla, is having trouble getting in today. And Carla is kind of a critical part of our team. So, in real cool transparency, I'm going to, on the back end, send Carla a little link so she can join us. Let me know, do you have your sheets of paper? Are you ready to go and ready to rock and roll? And we're going to help Carla get in, because Carla has been here Thank you so much for your patience. Carla's been here for every other creating connections to scale. And I know to her, it's important for her to be here today as she's building her business. So, elevate your blend was where we're going to start. And we're starting from your perspective. So, strategies, some would say, strategies are the part that you add to, mm, you add them to get things going, uh, kind of an ignition switch. They're the mission controls part. They're how you can set and control your entire back end of the process of trying to monetize. So in chat, let me know, if you can, who you're trying to reach. Are you trying to reach Entrepreneurs, are you trying to reach people in the business to consumer side? Trying to reach parents? Are you trying to reach paralegals like Maria's? Are you trying to reach people who are interested in playing and experimenting tech? And Carla, our accounts just came up. Carla, say hi in the chat if you can to let us know if that is you and you are here with us. But we're really looking forward to joining you. And Carla, I know you just popped in. To recap, Carla, get a blank sheet of paper, make 3 lines or columns, and you may have this from one of our previous workshops. Make 1 column IRL, in real life or live. Make a middle column, online, virtual. Make a hybrid column for my blend. And you're here right in time. So thank you so much for your patience. Hey, it is Carla, and she's here. Fabulous, fabulous. So the elevate your blend part is the secret to the chemistry part. It's the secret to you being able to play full out with transparency because it's your behind the scenes plan. And you'll see a gorgeous graphic here from Jonathan Howard of JRH Graphics. And Jonathan describes an amazing, amazing graphic. We so appreciate him. And Eve has helped us update this graphic. So you're going to see a beautiful new updated creating connections to scale logo. But in the process of doing this, in the elevate your blend part, it's a matter of a check in. What has worked for you in the past? What will work for you in the future? What will you play with to see what will help you take your next steps? So let's really dive in to the strategies piece. And in this strategies piece, you're going to find that we've already done our welcome and our celebration, and I'm toasting to you. Hey, hey, hey. And in the Elevate Your Blend, imagine what it might be like to let what you love be the way you connect with people. What would that look like for you? I mean, it wouldn't feel icky. It would be your blend. It would be your way. It would be your day. And really to your tempo. Hey Roshni, how are you? Thank you so much for popping in. So Roshni, we started with a blank sheet of paper. If you just are popping in, it has 3 columns. The first sheet or first column is IRL, in real life. The second column is online. The last column is hybrid. And we're working on creating your blends under those. And that's where we're starting. And the interesting part about that would be that if, and Roshni really modeled this yesterday, because I just met Roshni in Cheryl's amazing networking mastermind. And the really cool part about this was Roshni and I had never met. Cheryl, we talked about this before about internet going. And if mine goes, someone, Carla's behind the scenes, Carla will pop out and sing for you, or she'll dance for you until Mel gets back. But Cheryl had an event yesterday and it was high energy. And it was filled with Cheryl's vibrant, beautiful energy. And I need you to imagine what your blend and your light look like when you let them out and you're working with, let's call them ideal future clients, IFCs. And one of my coaches just shared that recently, and I'm loving it, loving it. And one of the things about it, and thanks, Roshni. I'm so glad you caught up with us, and Carla's here. So we gonna get moving. So we're rocking and rolling. But imagine your light, what it's like. I just met Roshni yesterday, and Cheryl created an atmosphere, a safe container, which is what all of our events are like. But Cheryl did it high level. We met, and Roshni described it perfectly as, I'm welcoming because I could feel the energy here. I could feel the vibe. If that's the way that you that you deal with clients, that you show up with clients, that you connect with people, and you're letting what you love out. So as opposed to the world where, and Marie and I have been having these discussions lately, a wonderful coach by the name of Judy Fox, Judi. She's on LinkedIn. Judy, fantastic. And Judy did a great presentation behind the scenes in a membership I'm part of. And she talked about how many people market based on pain points. The big coaches will tell you, find the pain point and dig, find the pain point and sprinkle. I'm here to tell you, as an introvert, that never works with me. I don't respond to peer pressure. I don't respond to fear marketing. I don't know if you raise your hands or you let me know. Give me a one if that fear of missing out works for you when somebody's trying to reach out to you. Or let me know what does work. But Roshni did it yesterday. She was showed us that she is the way. She was the way. When Cheryl stepped out yesterday, Roshni and I were like, hey, Cheryl's not here. Cheryl will be back. We're going to keep Cheryl's wonderful energy and vibe flowing. If that's the way that you connect with people, then that's the key. Hey D, how are you? Welcome, welcome. And you're right, we do love Cheryl's energy. One of the really cool things about this is if that energy is a key part of your in-person blend. If you're the hugger, the kisser, if you're you're always holding the doors for people. Maybe you're in the buffet line, you're always passing a plate to somebody. Maybe you make sure everyone is in your car or vehicle belted before you turn on your ignition. Maybe you're carrying every package for somebody. But let's approach this from intersections. The strategies part of this is a key part of my beta course, Creating Connections to Scale. And strategies is the fifth element. But all of the elements are based on helping you fly. It's about soars. It's about helping you fly, whether you're the pilot, you're the co pilot, you are the steward, you are that air traffic controller, you're that person doing the cool moves so the pilot pulls out or pulls in to the gate. You are the person who just dealt with every cranky parent, every change that someone needs to at the gate. You were the Uber or the Lyft person getting people there. You're the limo picking people up from baggage claim, that driver. Whatever your angle is, as people are flying, whether you're in charge of the transportation, whether you're providing the transportation, whether you're looking up, waiting for your plane to come into the airport so your vacation starts. Think of that as the the behind the scenes of how to elevate your blend. And it's so other people who you're inviting in, potential clients, people you're showing products, people you're offering services to. Maybe you're a contractor and you've got your business, maybe you're a full time employee and you've got your side hustle. Wherever you're approaching that intersection, that is the key to the blend. And I know it's a lot, but for those of you who are afraid to fly, imagine an ocean liner, a car approaching a bunch of intersections. Maybe not the Autobahn if you're one of those I need to drive the speed limit kind of people. But that's where we're starting from. So, really, this quote was written by my coach. And one of my first coaches, she said, drop all the strategies and tactics. And I've now updated this because the strategies are key. Drop all the tactics. Forget the ways you've been taught it's supposed to be done and design your way. Not all those amazing coaches who we see on the massive stages. And I love it because Cheryl's about to be on a massive stage too. And D and I and Roshni, we're coming. We're going to cheer you on, and we'll definitely cheer you on. But what Cheryl's really helped me do is the second part. Forget the ways you've been taught it's supposed to be done. Your lane, your way. And let's start there. The part about creating your magnet is kind of an energy part. If we're on screen, how do we respond to somebody's energy? I'm an introvert, but a trained ambivert. I'm grateful now. I know what to do when somebody passes me a microphone. But in the beginning, that first mic, and I had theater training way back when as a kid. That first mic, I was like, oh my gosh, I got the button. What am I supposed to do with this? But you breathe, you lean in. And that part is so important in real life. It's how people perceive our energy, but they're also perceiving our energy based on what they see on a screen. Somebody I saw last week, and I'm going to use an example and not share any names. A person I saw in group coaching was presenting. I hadn't seen them in about 3 years. And whenever I saw them, they were always very narrowly focused. They were the vision person, they were the structure person. Um, they weren't the color outside the lines person. I wouldn't have invited them over for Thanksgiving dinner, for example. And in that part of discovering, I saw them recently and their energy was through the roof. It was a magnetic presentation. And they invited us to set up a call. And I showed up on the call. And that one-to-one energy didn't match their screen energy. On screen, they were charming. It was, the host who you always love to go and hang out with them. He was in charge of the welcome mat when he was presenting. In a one-to-one, he was a salesperson just interested in selling. So instead of magnetizing, which is the step after elevate your blend, it was kind of like somebody sprayed insect repellent all over the place. Or I'm highly allergic to animals, but I love your dogs. I love your cats, and your dogs love me. Your cats love me. I have to be around fish. They're the only thing that doesn't make me sneeze. And I love birds, watching them fly, hummingbirds. Dee will laugh because we've been on a live and a hummingbird has come while I was outside. That's the type of magnetize you want to follow. Something that inspires you. That's the type of offerings you want to provide, the type of products, the type of services, an invitation to come hang out with you and come play. That is the key to magnetize. And in a little bit, we're going to take a little stretch break because I want to make sure you have them as you're magnetizing. So we talked about elevate your blend. We talked about magnetize. And as we're talking about magnetize, can you type in the chat for me one person you'd like to meet next week? One potential client. Just type it in the chat, and if you're comfortable, I'll share it. If you don't want me to share it, don't put those helpful emojis. But if you put that chat and there's an emoji after it, I'll know it's okay that I can share what you're saying. I'll know we can share it and talk about it. Because at the same time as we're doing this, I really want to make sure we're safeguarding your privacy. And in some cases, some people don't want others to know which clients they want to meet. But maybe it's not a client you want to meet next week. Maybe you want to meet Cheryl after us talking about Cheryl. Maybe you want to meet. Okay. Thank you so much, Sharnetta. And Sharnetta, welcome, welcome. So, Sharnetta, help us understand it. Possible distribution partners. So, what are they going to help you distribute? Are you talking about like affiliates who can introduce you to other people? Are you looking for brand ambassadors? Like, I'm now certified in trust. I became a trust ambassador. What kind of distribution partners are you looking to meet? And where are they? Are they in your neighborhood? Are they national? Are they global? So, as you're diving into that as part of the strategies, the being able to be laser specific about the magnetize. Who's the magnet for? All right, Sharnetta, you are here. Thank you so much. So Sharnetta's looking for colleges to distribute her online course for physical therapy students. That is laser specific. So Sharnetta, national or global is my next question. Is it a course that's going to be able to be translated in other languages? So it's got a big wide reach. How far do you want your magnet? How deep? And I know Eve will mention I'm doing positive intelligence stuff. Marie will say as I'm doing PQs. So okay, Sharnetta says national. That's really laser specific. We're gonna find you some colleges and physical therapy. One of my future nieces is in therapies, and we'll reach out. Sharnetta will definitely talk about this later. Woo, Cheryl! Cheryl's looking for podcasts and virtual stages to speak on. And Cheryl, you're definitely looking for global stages because you got some big stuff happening. I'm not sharing your news, but boy, you are working on everything. So Cheryl's looking for podcasts and virtual stages to speak on. And that would involve her part of Magnetize. Oh, thank you so much, Sharnetta. Don't worry. We're definitely going to get in touch. Do not worry. You're in the right place. And I have to thank you because Sharnetta's the reminder as we're online and as we're magnetizing and as we're reaching out, sometimes we get a little busy. And Sharnetta was really patient because Sharnetta sent me a connection request and we met 15 months ago. We haven't met in person. We met online because of when Cheryl mentions about podcasts and virtual stages. I made a presentation to some chamber members, to people in the library system, to aspiring entrepreneurs. And Sharnetta has started her business and we are back in touch. So thank you so much. We are definitely going to connect and help you with the magnetize. As you're magnetizing, there are a couple of keys to that. One we talked about was the energy. Very, very important. Because if it's not the right energy, I won't say that the person who I had a conversation with last week fooled me. That's not the right thing to say. I'll have to say that in magnetize, we got to focus our vision. So it's a little more than the national and the global, it's being really laser specific about the energy we're bringing to it and about the energy that we're inviting in. I ended up in a space with somebody who was trying to make a sale. The conversation I had with him before, he had a $2,500 offer, and I wasn't interested in it. And he gave me the fear of missing out. And I was like, sounds really good, not for me. And when I met with him again, he was looking for people to help introduce him to people. I almost, before we spoke, I had invited him to be on my Impossible Live, which is really high energy, a confidence building piece. We're here to help people. And I dreaming and talking with Cheryl about a summit for next year. And I thought what he spoke about in this short presentation would be great for a summit. But it wasn't the right energy to help magnetize the outcomes we want to deliver for people. So, this is the part about tactics. And he's my best example of that. This was an entrepreneur, straight up. We're all aspiring or we're in business, but his approach involves tactics. And I'm from the back in the day, the carrot and the stick. They would dangle stuff, and on the other hand, they'd make you feel less than. And in the process of feeling less than, he appeared and reminded me of tactics that he's doing, how he's been taught, how it's supposed to be done. It's not the way to reach future clients, and it's not the way to magnetize, and it's not the way to lead. It's not the way to inspire. It's not the way to invite someone into a collaboration or build a community, and not to build a quality relationship. I unfollowed him on social media, and he's about to join the membership that I'm in. And with transparency, I already talked to the person who runs the group because I said, his talk was great. I accepted the offer to click. If one of your newer member does and has a conversation with him, like the conversation I had, they may not be a member much longer. So that's the part about magnetizing. And Roshni showed us that yesterday. She's in Cheryl's networking mastermind for the first time that I'm there, but she got Cheryl's vibe. You're elevating it. That's the part of elevating your blends and how you tie it to magnetize. Anybody have any questions? Ready for a little break? Give me a thumbs up or a let's keep going. If you're ready for a break, give me a number one. We'll take like a 3 minute or 5 minute break on your end. And maybe you want to walk your dog, want to grab some water, need a stretch break, want to do some yoga, want to have a dance party. All right, Carla's stretching on the back end. So we're going to stretch. Thank you so much. The next part is about building trust. All right, Roshni. Yes, you can, Roshni, you definitely can pick up the recording later on. And yes, I love it about dancing. So Roshni, thank you for dancing in with your amazing energy today. And it's fabulous. I'm delighted we're connected, and let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch. The building trust part is a little harder. And it's harder in the sense that the trust part is behind let it be as simple as it really is. Internally, how we show up looking for opportunities to reach a new client, opportunities to tell somebody about our services. D was stellar. D, I adore you. And D has a handout that I'm going to send you about intergenerational relationships. It's how to reach people maybe who we need a different communication language, a different pattern. And Dee's beautiful handout really ties into the trust part because we don't speak the same language. It seems complicated. This gentleman who I was on a call with last week, if it was simple, if he had said, "Hey, I'm inviting you to a call. Mel, we've spoken before." And in the process of creating trust opportunities or creating a willingness on my side to trust him, or on my side, helping me explore whether he was trustworthy or not, he could have said straight up, "I am looking to meet ambassadors. I am looking to meet ambassadors who are helping me spread the messages of my product." Like Cheryl said it straight up. She's looking for podcasts and virtual stages to speak on. Here I saw him in a presentation. I'm inviting him to join my live stream. I'm inviting him to join my summit. If that was one goal and we saw eye to eye from a trust perspective, it might have happened. But in the process of building trust, we all have different learning styles. Some of us learn by what we touch through demos. Others are learning. Roshni said it. She's going to listen to a recording later. Others learn by what we see, by what we hear. We learn in groups. We learn alone. And you'll see a handout I'm going to send you on 7 learning styles. But the thing about, and you'll love it, the 7 learning styles handout is from a really talented DJ I met, networking. He's amazing, but he was a teacher. It has to be as simple as it really is. If it's not, we're not taking a step towards each other. If he had said in between the time that I heard him speak and we spoke, "Hi, here's some background info when I talk to you. Here's a demo of my product. Here's a video to check out. Here's a blurb I want you to share." It really would have come off really well. Instead, when we connected, he tried to, some would say, make sure that I felt less than at the end of our conversation. And in the process of making me feel less than, then he said, "Oh, I'm not a coach." And I laughed because the big coaches, the really big coaches, will sometimes put something over your head. It's something to reach for. It's what Judy Fox called the pain point. Here's where we are, and here's where you're trying to go to. And as Judy Fox said, if we're going for that tickle point, what delights you? What delights the people you're offering services and products to? I met Rick many years ago. I adore you, darling, and thanks for being on the other end and in front of me and around me. And Rick, I met over 3 decades ago, and Rick was my Charlie's Angel. He was a voice on the phone, providing exceptional support. And we actually spoke on the phone for almost 8 years. Every time I had a computer problem, I called Rick's office. 8 times out of 10, Rick would answer and we would talk. It was amazing. The amount of trust that we built up, because every time I had a problem, here's this amazing, patient, wonderful man with a great laugh, with a solution, or he would dispatch one of his techs to fix the problem. The best part was one day he sent a tech to our office, and I was like the operations person. And Rick sent me a kit so I could take the back of the cover of the CPU off. And Rick's like, every time He's trying to talk to me to tell me to look inside a computer. And I'm terrified because my family will tell you I truly can be very spastic. So I've got these little screwdrivers. There's these little things that I'm afraid I'm going to break it. And Rick would say, my boss was a screamer. Rick would say, Mel, don't worry. Don't worry. If you take it off and you break something, he'll replace it. And it made me laugh in the process of doing something awkward. Those are the types of things. Yes, I adore you too. Those are the type of things, the let it be as simple as it really is. This is the key to you creating connections. It's the key to you elevating your blends. It's the key to you opening new doors and meeting people who help you open new doors. If it's in person, in the old days, we were looking for that handshake. During the pandemic, you'd have people giving you an elbow, right? Maybe it's a nod. Maybe it's smiling eyes behind a mask. It can be verbal, it can be nonverbal, but really watch for the cues. You don't have to be certified in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, to do it. The one thing I want to share with you from a trust perspective, and a coach who was certified in it taught me this years ago, somebody rubs behind their ear, side of their face, when you're quoting them a price, they're not opening their wallet. They may have said yes. They may have said they're checking with another family member. It may feel from a trust perspective like that's the person who is going to ghost you. They're going to disappear. You'll wait for them. Cheryl, you're amazing. You'll wait for them to hit that buy button. You'll wait for them to hit that go button. You'll wait for them to use DocuSign to sign and send you that proposal so you can get started, so you can monetize. And you feel like you're ghosted. You feel like you're waiting. So one of the things I would say about this part about trust, and I thank Carla and Dee for being around. We have trust styles. I am now certified in trust styles. It's a link. I can send it to you. We can play with it some other time. The important part is, from a trust perspective, think of how you build trust in terms of your integrity, how you show up. Today's title includes monetize with transparency. Think about when people can see through you. And a good example is Carla. When we first spoke, Carla and I spoke about Carla supporting me in terms of creating connections to scale. Carla has truly been there from the trenches from the beginning. After our discovery call, and I knew I really wanted to work with her, but I had to really get the tools we were playing with the course straight. Carla says, "Let me send you a blueprint. It's something for you to think about." We were able to use it in terms of designing slides for the course. It was fabulous. Carla laughed. I told her the other day, I am still using that blueprint. I'm customizing it. And that part of building trust, Carla did without a check, without a quote for service, without a proposal. It's that high end of value. She sent me a resource, just like these amazing intergenerational handout. They're sharing resources. It's more than if you're in person, maybe from body language or what car somebody was driving, or how they looked at you, how they treated you, how you saw them treat somebody else. Do they walk around like the peacock? They own the room. Are they in the corner, which I used to be in at networking events? I would walk around the corner in the edges of the room. I was claustrophobic, as opposed to jumping in. So the let it be as simple as it really is your key to building trust. So integrity, emotional mastery. And yeah, this is based on emotional intelligence. The emotional mastery, really complex. I mentioned it a little bit before with the person who made me feel less than. I tried in a couple of emails, and as you would say, this is a throat chakra thing. I tried in a couple of emails and direct messages to reach out to this person because I wanted to ask them what they're doing is offering people a chance to dive into an energy pattern system. And I asked them, is the energy you brought to our half hour call the energy you try to build with a new client? It was in emotional mastery. I didn't say, hey, you tried to make me feel less than, and I didn't have space to store your negative energy, so I just blew it off. I didn't absorb it. And emotional mastery sometimes is about, how does somebody make us feel? Where's this taking me? Is it giving me oh, a little something in the pit of my stomach? Is it taking me to a place that makes me feel like I'm in, and Carla will laugh again, in Adam's Family video? And yeah, there's an Adam's Family video. Does it creep you out? And in the other sense, does it make you feel like solid gold? Is it lifting you up with positive energy, with excitement? And I did an Impossible Live on this recently. When in the emotional mastery stage, something makes you feel excited as opposed to elevating your energy, unless it's a person you just met on a blind date and you think this is the person you're going to marry, hold your nose, hit a stop sign, find a pause sign, talk to a friend, because it may be leading you in a direction that you don't necessarily want to go with. And I'd reverse it while we're talking about this in terms of your business. I met an ideal future client. Promise me referrals up the wazoo. Promise me introductions and test drive. And the field that they're in, I knew that they had the ability to invest in my services. They needed me to train a team member. I did so. They needed me to build operating practices so they could duplicate this formula for a virtual event that they host annually. I did all the bells and whistles. When it came time to it, the person asked me straight up with their transcript that I still have a record of, you expect me to pay you? This is a person who's a professional speaker who is looking to truly elevate and notch up and come up with a system for hosting virtual events without investing with them. That honesty from a truth perspective would have really led our relationship to the next level, and they missed the boat. So in terms of trust, you have integrity, you have emotional mastery. The third part is we disposition. And I need you to think of this like it's a coin. Uh, we disposition can also be a me disposition. The person that I spoke with in the story that I was talking about, whose energy wasn't aligned, was coming from the me disposition perspective. We disposition is something that has to do with how we build communities, it's how we can create relationships. And these three elements of trust styles, they're just an orientation. What I love from the trust style journey, my style flipped from last fall to this spring. I just took the trust style index again, and I'm pretty sure it's flipped again from spring to summer. All that means is I'm playing with the tools. And that's what I would encourage you in the process of building trust. Whether you're building it with a collaborator, with a potential contractor, with your first employee, with someone you're about to sign a contract with. And right now, we're talking about this while Mercury is retrograde. Some would say on paper, this is not the time to be signing new contracts, to show a little caution when you're negotiating them. But this moral of this, let it be as simple as it really is. And in the process of building trust, think of the learning style of the person you're communicating with. Did they ask you to send them a video? Did they ask you to send them something in writing? Are they asking for something that they need to look at alone before you have a conversation with them? They're telling you how they think. They're telling you what helps them trust you. And Janae, who you're going to meet in the full blown course, Janae has a sales success society where she talks about types of buyers, and she describes the buyers. And this is built into the resources of the course. I'm not sharing it as a tease. And I will, Jay, if you're in my Illuminations groups for talented entrepreneurs, Jay is in there. I will connect you with Jay. She has a system to basically tell us, just like the 3 columns that we're doing on my blend, it tells you what type of buyers you're dealing with. It also helps you look at what type of buyer you are. I already said straight up before, if you have an offer and it's about to expire and it's not for me, human design taught me I don't respond to peer pressure. So that fear of missing out, sorry, doesn't work with Mel. I never could explain it. I'm laughing that here in human design, and that's a whole nother energy thing that a business coach introduced me to, and I really appreciate it. It showed me how I make decisions. These are the keys to building trust. Where are they coming from? What are the next steps in communicating with them, in opening the doors, in opening the relationship? What are some things they're asking you for? And the speed with which we deliver them is important. Sharnetta is so patient. She sent me a connection request on LinkedIn a while ago, and I just accepted it yesterday. I was hoping it was Sharnetta because I had written her name while presenting. And I said, I wonder if, and Sharnetta, that 15 months of a holding pattern, could it be that simple that you connect with someone and when they're ready to buy, because they trust you, because you've aligned or you've integrated everything so it connects? Oh, I've got a problem. They can help me. That is the key, because we don't know what they're thinking. Our world's gotten so complex. Our fragile world, it's gotten so complex. We don't know what they're thinking. We don't know how they're thinking. Some would say, when the let it be as simple as it really is, if this was about good, positive energy to just lighten and brighten our world, which Mel will say is a core of every collaborator, of everybody I work with, if it was that simple, just think, you'd scale, you'd grow, you'd prosper, you'd be able to take the vacation you like, you could pick the seat on the plane you like, you could pick the table in the restaurant, if it was that simple. But aligning it, how do they want to learn? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? In some cases, we're hearing resistance. In other cases, people are experiencing buyer remorse. Somebody bought something, they're trying to return it. Somebody is trying on a pair of shoes. You go to LL Bean or Zappos, they will take anything you buy back. My aunt has this great story about working in Saks in the after five department, and all of the celebrities would come, and the celebrities would come, and they'd buy a bunch of dresses, and then you could see which one they had worn to an event the night before and tucked the tag in. We want to avoid that. On your end too, I want you to stretch. Like Carla said, we did it with Roshni before, whether we're doing a dance move, whether this is about energy. And it's really about combining all this stuff to leverage it. So I've got a handout for you on creating connections. And that handout is basically, and you're going to get all this shortly in an email, or I'm going to invite you into my Be Visible intensive group where I'm putting all the resources. But under creating connections, there is there are 5 steps to how you create connections. One is alignment, one is ignite, one is collaborate, one is inspire, and the last one is the hardest part: eliminate isolation. Alignment, we've been talking about alignment all along, about how you elevate your plan. We're talking about ignite, how you elevate your energy, how you increase someone's comfort levels. Collaborate, hard part. And we did a live on this recently, and we're doing another live. In what conversation are you creating someone to collaborate, to kind of have a meetings of the minds with? Can you help them on the first date solve one problem? Solve one problem with care, using your network, using your leadership style. Solve one problem to prove you're a valuable resource. Another way, too, from an opportunity perspective, if it's somebody you just met, ask them, what is one thing I can help you with now or this week? It's not easy. Maybe you're going on vacation next week. Maybe it's what is one thing I can help you with now or next month? The inspire part, that's about having people help. You want to help them fall in love with you in your genuine interest in helping them. And not just helping them, because Judy Fox did a conversation about that. We can help people who have no intention of paying us. We can help people who only want to grab what is free. And we also, at the same time, we really need it for the inspirations necessary for traction, to shift the gears from that blind date to that person we hope is going to marry us, hire us, refer us, see us, show up for the website, show up, click on the website, download the freebie, sign up for your email list, show up for the discovery call, and hopefully not become a recovery call. And it's that inspired part involves the trust that we're talking about. Eliminate isolation is so hard because do others feel valued? Roshni is a good example. Earlier, Roshni and I were in Cheryl's amazing, whew, energizing house party. It was a networking event, and Cheryl's amazing. She's in Illuminations groups for talented entrepreneurs. She's at My Impossible Lives. Cheryl J. Moses on LinkedIn. Cheryl Janine. Find her on Instagram. Find her on TikTok. Find her wherever you can find her. But Cheryl's energy helped 9 or 10 ladies yesterday eliminate isolation. We felt valued. She didn't promise us anything. She didn't she opened up a wonderful door for us. She she gave us fuel. She helped us launch. She helped us thrive. She was fully present. She was patient. When she disappeared from the screen, we took really small steps because this was Cheryl's house party. And we wanted to kind of keep that amazing vibe until Cheryl came back and she let us know. And these are the parts about let it be as simple as it really is. And this is all part of a longer quote from awakenedbusiness.com. And Stephanie's an amazing coach. She introduced me to human design, and it was way above my head. She talked to me about energy. She talked to me about how when I was trying to magnetize that for Mel, I have to learn to say simply, join us. I invite you to. You are welcome to. She reminded me of the invitation part of how you're creating how to monetize. You're trying to create a giant magnet. And the other part of it, you're trying to create a magnet within Elevate Your Blend. It's your ingredients, it's your secret sauce, it's what makes you comfortable, it's what makes your team comfortable. And for those of you trying to grow a team, that team will include your collaborators. It'll include your networking partners. It'll include your event sponsors, your event speakers, the people who help you set up your tech. None of us can do this alone. If the chemistry is join Mel in her safe lab and bring your elements and come in and play and then go out and test them and come back and let me know, hey, this is working. Or, I need one of those tools, the trust building tool, or I need one of those little screwdrivers in that toolkit that Rick gave you years ago to fix your computer. And you use that to build chemistry with the steps that you're taking so that you feel really supported, so that you feel really aligned, so that you've got amazing fuel. Then you've got the mission control to monetize with transparency. And the hard part about that is we never know when that rocket ship's going to take off. I appreciate Carla because about a month ago, Carla said, Mel, I feel some vibrations here. Kind of like come along and ride on the fantastic voyage. Amazing Exquisite Eve popped in when I was dreaming of the website she and Rick are go help Mel Bill under the umbrella Be Visible Solutions and make it a place to just come in and pop in and solve problems. And in that process, we invested in some tech that's kind of like, I need training wheels for it because let it be as simple as it really is. We need to discover it, play with the elements, play with the tools. What works? What doesn't work? We don't get a chance to do that in short term relationships. People are expecting that great vibes, and maybe we're not feeling it on the blind date. Maybe we're not feeling it on the first date. Maybe the blind date and the first date do not lead to a marriage proposal. Maybe they don't lead to a business proposal. Maybe they don't lead to an offer to engage and connect and invite somebody in. Maybe they lead to a call where you're saying some of the problems that I'd love to help you solve can best be solved by checking out this resource or by working on this as part of your base. Eve mentioned that to us, exquisite Eve, as I call her, invisibility Jim. There are certain steps you need to take. Cheryl has been amazing with that, which reminds me, gotta slow it down because it looks like on the outside. Someone said to me years ago, wow, you've got a great amusement park going on there. I have no idea which ride to try first. There's no map. So we slowed our business down to create kind of a legend behind it, a glossary. And that's what my blend is. It is action steps for you, action steps for a team member you invite in. Cheryl mentioned the other day in a fabulous, uh, 0 to 12K. I think she was talking to us about building email lists. And Cheryl really talked to us about event marketing mastery, how to break it down simply. And I love it. She had a cool launch planner. It was fantastic. I hope she'll repeat it because I would love to go back. But when Cheryl slowed us down, she was trying to remind us that when we invite people in, so when you're inviting people into your lab, when you're entering your lab, there are ingredients. What do those look like? What are the formulas that you want someone to use to combine your ingredients? Like, don't combine bleach and ammonia. What are those elements? If Carla's inviting someone in to look at their YouTube channel, like she did with me on one of our first dates many moons ago, Carla's like, Mel, you have more videos behind the scenes than you do up front. I'm like, yep. They were coaching videos for different clients, for different programs, for different presentations, and they were behind the scenes. And Carla's like, well, you got to let people play with some of this stuff. And that's what I'm saying about your elements, whether it's learning styles, communication styles, whether it's the process that you use, that your team uses, whether it's how you network. I'm finally at a point, and I'll say this a couple of months ago, Be Visible Solutions is coming. Eve is working on a logo. I don't have a business card. I don't have a pamphlet. I don't have a brochure. BeVisibleSolutions.com is sitting there waiting. BeVisible.solutions is a website. It's got training wheels. It takes stages, and that's the part. That's all behind. Let it be as simple as it really is. These little things that you see flying around, they're amoebas and jellyfishes and all sorts of cool stuff that we found on a magical trip to Tahiti when I was first becoming a full time entrepreneur. They remind me to dream and dream in full color. Put that dream, mm, the support, the ignition to dream in full color. Put it out there. Even if you test one or two ingredients in your blend and you just try them separately. People like to call it A/B testing. Try them together. Maybe, as Carla said in a while ago in an Impossible Live, and I so appreciated it, we were talking about being introverts, and Carla says, I am going to step out. I am going to step out. Carla's nodding behind the scenes. You ready? You ready to come out from behind the scenes and kind of come out and raise your hand and say hi? And you're okay with that? Okay, okay. All right. Here's amazing Carla. How are you, beautiful?
Doing good, Mel. By the way, you should have mentioned with your hand and your help, I was able to step out.
You're kind of amazing there because that was not a paid commercial. And I think one of the cool parts about this, Carla, is you've been here from the beginning as Eve has, and I really, really thank you both for being here, for style masterclass for a full masterclass on creating connections to scale. And this is just a teeny little piece. And it's a beta course. So we're kind of here in the lab together. There are a lot of components to it. And I just wanted a part of our my blend for you to be able to slow it down. Not here's a worksheet, here's the box Mel gave me, here's the line. It needs to fit in, it needs to fit in this page. It needs to fit in these three columns. Um, Talk to us, Carla, just from a you perspective
The
of when you're starting to create my blend, what does that look like for Carla?
it was very, very scary. Um, I wanted the security of being behind the scenes, but at the same time, I wanted an opportunity to be with everyone or someone and be able to communicate, feel well, have a good time. But I realized that that was not going to be a jump from where I was behind the scenes to being in the middle of the party. I just couldn't do it. As a matter of fact, and I don't want to take up your time, Mel, but um, I was invited to a conference a year ago, and I was absolutely terrified. Didn't know what to do, how to do it, if I should go, if I shouldn't, should I go, should I stay? So many questions. And what did I do? I called you, and you talked me through it. You helped me through it, and I went. And I was courageous. I met people, and it was one of the first times that I've been able to do that. So that's where I came from. That's where I try to go back, not intentionally, but that's where I go back to occasionally. I have to crawl back out. So I'm working on it. It's a work in progress, but I'm getting there. And I thank you for it.
I want to thank you too, because the cool part is Carla's mentioning that transition from online to in person. And I think it's one of the hardest things. And I was a BNIer, and I'd go every week to BNI, and I would talk about what you're doing in person and what you're doing online in both. And people in the group were like, what in the world is she talking about? And then the pandemic hit. And in the pandemic, somebody said, you were trying to prepare us for this. I said, what do you mean? She says, you kept talking to us about what do you do in person? What do you do online in both? And Carla's talking about it. And thank you so much for sharing with transparency and vulnerability. It's hard when you're behind the scenes online to step out. It was hard for me as an introvert. I was networking. I remember that first networking event, going to it, and somebody told my beautiful, beautiful family, she needs to learn how to speak. I needed the framework. So what you're reminding us of is the key to this is figure out what your frame is. What approach works for Carla may not be the approach that works for others. But it worked for Carla as an introvert, and I could help Carla with it because going to conferences, it's Mel's jam. Events are my jam. They're my jam. I always have the paper and the pen. People would laugh too because there's a planner I use and the pen's always there. And people are like, oh, she's taking notes. And didn't matter. This was also when I could use my phone as a camera, when I could record a video. I always have to have a paper and a pen. It's how with Sharnetta, I remembered her name because I wrote her name down. And whether Sharnetta was at an event where some people 80% of the people when we started in that presentation, they were afraid to turn the camera on. People are like, I'm having an event. Show your camera on. I need to see your face. Sometimes the person has a reason why their camera's not on. They could be working from home and they're in their jammies. They could have a family member they're caregiving for, could be in their kitchen, working from their bedroom, whenever you're working remotely. So that's part of the trust part. I appreciated you because I really understood that day that not only have we built up the relationship, but we had built up the trust. But in the process of it, when we have a fear, we got to go to somebody who's going to help us. You know, Rick and I have spent a lot of time together, and particularly a lot of time together this week. I've been hanging around with Cheryl a lot, with Eve a lot. When something's happening and you're trying to figure out a moving part and you're trying to do it in a certain way. And Rick and I talked about this. I was going to do this a different way today, but I was reminded, and Carl is helping me with it. It's not about presenting with slides, it's about coming out of our shells to help each other take steps to grow. It is the crux, it's the centerpiece of that beautiful logo that Jonathan designed. Some people are by themselves, some people are in groups. Everybody's looking at the view. It's your vision and your energy and what inspires you. And Carla lines it up because Carla, how was that event that you went to? Did you have did you have fun or
After about the first 30 minutes, because then I decided, here I am. Here I am. It's me. I hoped that they was going to like me. But if we didn't fit, then that was going to be okay too. And I just went out and spent 3 days being me, and had a great time. Had a great time. And I learned a lot. Um, Mostly that I need to be me, not hide who I am, but let others know who I am, and then they can accept that.
it is, I think it's that hard part about let it be as simple as it really is. Let us be us. Let the person who is sharing a problem that hopefully you're helping them solve, whether it's by providing a product, an offer, and in some cases, it involves self trust that we're comfortable enough in our own skin and we're not uncomfortable when we're not comfortable to admit, as Jonathan has always said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that's part of it. Like you're saying, if there's a risk to it, how do we connect? How do we show up? Am I wasting my time? Am I going to waste my resources? And the communication is the key. When we feel a fear, there's somebody around us who can help. I like to believe in a live event, that person who can help you is in the room. They were behind the sign in desk, they're behind the information desk, they're behind the help desk, they're the person who showed you where to park your car, the person who gave you the plate, the person who's serving a dish at a live event. That person is in the room. Marie and I laugh about this all the time because Ivan Meisner wrote an amazing book, Who's in Your Room? And just making sure that room is a safe place for you, whether it's live, whether it's in person, whether it's both. I love hybrid because Rick will laugh at my second hybrid event. You can hear my voice and you never see me on the camera. I was hosting an event, room full of people, room full of food, room full of good people. You never saw Mel on camera. I didn't do what I was doing today. We were there to learn from the social media experts, and it's where Rick gave me what I'd love to say as part of your strategies, as part of your blend. Align what everybody else calls it call to action. Some would say call to respond. Rick called it calls to connect. And I thanked him because, boy, hadn't heard it before. C to C. What is your call to connect with others? What is their call to connect with you? And on the other hand, the risk part of, of the elements, a call to disconnect. That person who I spoke about before, we needed a call to disconnect. Fortunately, it was a half-hour call. I needed a call to disconnect. And I needed to wait. Fortunately, I said, I know you need to go. And he's like, no, I don't need to go yet. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I do. But I think you reminded me of that need to laugh about it. Carla and I, without planning it, blue is the color of the day. Eve will laugh about this, you know, and it is what lines up for you strategy wise, in the sense of, you know, it's not easy. And we talked about it, Carla, when we talked before, and I know you got notes. So while you're here with me, we're gonna pick your talented brains, and especially since you've been in all of these. So thank you so much. So in elevate your blend, what's one thing you've got in a column under the B part? What'd you write down that you would share? Like before, you said with elevate your blend, and you said it on a live, I'm gonna show up more. What's one elevate your blend thing that you're gonna try? And we didn't plan this. You don't have to say it out loud.
Well, no, I think if I share it, I think if I share it, that I'll be more apt to step up to the plate. But I think that I'm going to try coming out and doing videos or even doing a live on Facebook or maybe LinkedIn. I've been kind of behind the scenes, and so I think maybe that's going to be one of the first things I try.
I think that's great. So when you're ready, let's do an impossible live on elevate your blend. And we'll get Carla out there, okay? We will find it. We will find a date. No joke, I won't forget. So while you're there, and I know you because you take notes like I do. I appreciate it. You take notes like I do, like Lachelle does. Under magnetize, what was one thing that you thought about to either call in the people that you'd like to call into your business or to connect with? Or what was one thing? I think you just answered it before because you mentioned using live streams. And you can use the live streams, whether you host them or whether you're a guest. So, like Cheryl would say, speaking on other stages. Do you want to do that nationally? We want to do it globally? Global?
Probably nationally.
Nationally. Okay. That's cool. So we can help you with that. The trust part, and without putting you on the spot, because we've been on a deep trust journey. So, in building trust with clients on YouTube management, for example, do you think that you using video and coming out, talking about the coming out from behind the camera part, might be a way to build trust with them?
I think so. And another way that with the clients I currently have, at first I try working with them with two or three of their videos. We go slow, we take it easy. They mention to me what they like. I bring to them what they could do. And we work on that. We just take our time. It takes usually about 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. And by the time we get done with those 3 videos, maybe 4, then I think both of us have the trust in each other. I know what they're going to do, how often they're going to get me the videos, and then they trust my work and how I'll get back with them, and we'll have an open communication. So that's one of the ways that I try to gain trust with my clients.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. And your clients, are they learning? Will they, when we talk about the alignment part, do you think they'll learn by doing? They'll learn by watching? Or they'll learn by experimenting? Like as you're doing a video, like Eve did this in behind the scenes of Visibility Gym. She talked to us about how to select the microphone we use or what type of lighting to use. That if you're teaching them so for their learning styles, you'll see on the handout there are 7 of them. All of us have all 7, including there's a visual learning style. And even someone who is visually impaired, they walk by faith, not by sight, might be the description of that learning style. But the the way to do it is test maybe the learning styles in a video, maybe one thing for each. It's hard to do all 7. I learned years ago because of Sally Hogshead and How to Fascinate. She has 7 advantages that we have in our styles. And there's an author and a presenter I love to follow, Jeffrey Davis of Tracking Wonder. And Jeffrey Davis had a web page and he used all 7 styles in it. And I was talking with a dear friend about this web page, and I could see all 7 styles to communicate in one web page. Like I bookmarked it, and it's a reminder as we're talking about creating our website. I love this page because it appealed to everybody. And it's hard because you're not for everybody, but from an alignment perspective, aligning your message for your magnet, aligning your message for the call to connect might be one way to do that there. When you leverage in the creating connections part, and Carla, I laugh because we've been working together for a bit. Carla takes notes like I take notes. I appreciate you. So we mentioned under creating connections from the leverage part, we mentioned alignment, we mentioned ignite, we mentioned collaborate, we mentioned inspire, we mentioned eliminate isolation. If there was one there that we could help you with, which one would that be?
I think it's going to be eliminating the isolation because I have trouble with that.
So you having trouble with it personally, and I will admit I was an introvert. People who know me well know in the beginning of the pandemic, I was hosting virtual events. I was hosting live events. I was co-hosting live and virtual events. And the weirdest part, I left BNI, the live networking, about a month, 5 weeks before the pandemic was announced. And the first thing I did with the pandemic was start scheduling virtual events to eliminate isolation. Somebody said later that, and it was Monique Ducci, I adore her. Monique said, Mel, you were trying to teach us this before. I came out of my turtle shell hosting events, adding a variety of talented people to come join us. I made it affordable when I charged for it. It was $10 per person, to just come pop in. If somebody was in a challenge or a budget or they were missing their revenue stream, let me know. Come as my guest. Just with transparency, please let me know. But in the process, it helped me really get out of the introvert, the trained ambivert. She raised her hand. And trained ambivert just means a little bit of introvert, a little bit of extrovert. Kind of, it's in each shoe. And people say we have introverts, we have ambiverts, we have extroverts, whatever shade of green you have, and you want. But I think part of the eliminate isolation and the part that you really have from a monetize with transparency is your respect for others. You showed it with me from the very first discovery call where I said we were going to work together, and you were so patient. You didn't give me a big to do list, you didn't give me a laundry list. It was before the holidays. We knew it was a long term project. We had no idea that it would take Mel 20 months of adding tools to the back end of creating connections to scale. But the other part of eliminating isolation, and it's hard part, there's a rejuvenate part there. How can, and I did it without planning for those events. It was, how can I help you reemerge or locate resources? That was my whole thing. You'll see it on the handout. Under eliminate isolation, I dove into rejuvenate. How can I lift something up here or help someone reemerge? So, as opposed to the question, what's one thing I can help you with now or this week or this month? How can I help you re-energize, re-emerge? And it's funny because make space to emerge is a tagline for Be Visible Shifts. I'm finally living it. And the pandemic caused me to live it. But I think under eliminate isolation, it's about getting permission. You do that. It's about figuring out the style of the person. And in some cases, we're in a world now where there's a lot of mental health instability. There are people who were not the perfect person to help. So small, cautious steps are required. That Spider Woman sense we said before about the Addams family, when somebody makes you feel creepy or uncomfortable, to really think about that part of it. Because when you're helping others breathe and feel valued, we're not for everybody. Everybody's not for us. And some people leave us with debris. And other people, like the gentleman that I had spoken about before, he was in a superhuman mode and he didn't realize it. I'm from a family, my brother and niece, Emma, they thrive on Marvel. They are the Marvel universe. If you're a metahuman or a superhuman, Emma's dog's name is Appa, after Avatar. APPA, Appa. If there's a creature, an animated, a real, some full color dream in there. But I think that's the other part of the eliminate isolation part. So thanks for helping me model that. And while you've got your great notes, chemistry part. What ingredients, what energy is Carla going to bring in? What fuel are you going to bring in?
Well, I was kind of thinking about this while you was talking a while ago, and I realized, first of all, I'm gonna have to trust myself. That's my first thing. I'm gonna have to trust myself and my ability, because if you were to knock on my door here at my house, I would open and say, "Come on in, come on in." But I don't know that I'm offering the same invitation, inviting people in, um, the way I should. And so maybe I should look at the way I'm inviting people in when we have our, maybe our calls, when I'm talking with people, and invite them. I mean, just invite them. This is me. Come on in. And, and I think that's what's the isolation. I think that's what's creating the isolation, is that I'm not doing that. And if you were here, I would come on in and visit a while. And I don't do that here. So I think I'm creating my own isolation in that situation. So I like to work on inviting people in the way I would if they were in my home, in a kind way, and um, with time and go from there.
I love what you're saying because, and I shared Cheryl's comment about being a trained ambivert. I think that's a chemistry lesson. The playing with, here's something introverts may do, here's something extroverts may do. Here, if I mix that into my blend, here's something maybe I could do. And I love what you're saying because at home, it's easy to be welcome. You're in a safe, sacred space. The thing that I would say, and I have to again thank Amazing D for introducing me to Elise, who I spoke with earlier. D, thank you again. Is that when you have energy and you, Maria Wade, who I met in Eve's Visibility Gym, I kept talking about being an alchemist and wanting to create a safe lab that other people could just pop into and kind of play with and feel safe in the process. No judgment zone. And Maria says, ah, I do that all the time. Invite people in for a chemistry session. You'll see that in the description for today. So, as opposed to it being a discovery call, I like to think of them in, if you slow it down, have an exploratory call. Are we two humans, or in your case, as a solopreneur and a team? Is the team on the other end? Explore, are we looking through the same lens? Are we willing to trust that the people you're inviting in, they know their business, they know their industry, they know their product lines so much better than we do? Every time there's an abbreviation, with curiosity, ask them what the abbreviation means. They mention an industry term, discover it. It'll help you learn how well and willing they are to share the information later. That'll help you determine whether they're a big fit or good fit at client. Do they, if it's multiple people, do they look at each other before one of them gives you an answer? Is it a couple? Are they business partners? Are they saying the same thing? Are they speaking the same language? One of the amazing clients I love working with, because what you're reminding me of is a wonderful woman and her husband, and she wanted to hire me, and her husband needed to meet me. So we met them at a local hotel, and he was the COO in a law firm, and I brought my retired NYPD with me. So the four of us are sitting there, and he's trying to let his wife speak. And at the same time, he's so excited because he's going to pay for this that he's into everything. So I ask a question, and when he's excited, he answers without letting, she's the potential client. I've already have a sense of her. We're introverts to introverts. And the thing is, in the conversation, I saw their dynamic. They had a young child. At the time, he was 5. Now he's 11 or 12. So good luck to them with their pre-tween. But from how they answered and exchanged information, I could see the external pressure she felt to not just succeed on her own terms, but to succeed in his eyes, as well as the balance of, I'm a mom with a young child. So they agreed they would hire me, which was fantastic. But they made the agreement that when he couldn't show up to support her, I promised I would be there to support her. So we helped her pick an event. She was trying to reach seniors. We helped her set up it as a senior expo. And he worked for a reasonably sized law firm. So at the time, I was doing promotional products, and she had her tablecloth, she had her materials, they were bilingual. She was dressed to success. We unpacked her car, we helped her set up, we stayed with her at her table. One of the two of us was always there. There was a point where she left her table with me and we went around to meet other people exhibiting so she could build some collaborations. At the same time, people would stop by. She had a sign up sheet, she had a gift. So we were able to help her, as you would say, with that welcome part of it. They really helped me understand when you're working with somebody who is not the sole decision maker, who is not actually involved in the process or the delivery of the service, that more care is there. People are like, I just want you, just sign this contract. It's okay. You can talk to your husband later. Just sign. I had somebody give me $1,000. You're not ready to work yet. Give me $1,000, and you can just no. We hadn't explored. I didn't know them. I knew they were the expert, and I'm grateful I didn't sign up with them. But when you're navigating that part in chemistry, think of your chemistry with that client. Are they going to provide you with the information you need to advance their project along, especially if it's time sensitive? And that's a hard part. Are you an on time kind of person? And you also said something that I really appreciate from the trust lens, which is we may have a discovery call,
Mhm.
we may have an exploratory call,
Mhm.
we may have a chemistry call, we may have a proposal or scope of project call. And some people, I don't want 4 calls. Let them fill out my form. Let me know if they're qualified. Let them tell me they're ready to hire somebody. Let them tell me if they've worked with somebody in my field before. Let them tell me my wish list. Sometimes that collection of information can feel like we've answered all those questions. So you can guide us to yes on the first date, or so you can sell me something that I wasn't interested in. We bought a pre-owned car recently. Hard decision. I'm grateful if Deborah Francis is in our audience, because Deborah helped me by sending me cars on Facebook Marketplace.
Mhm.
But it's like Cheryl said, I wasn't ready. I had never sat in a car dealership for a car for me. I wasn't ready. I had some other stuff I needed to answer. And I think that part of understanding where your buyer is in terms of learning style,
Mhm.
buying style, as Jay's hands out in her Sales Success Society in the resource list will really help. What is your buyer's style, buying style? They're ready to buy today. I need a plumber. Here's my wallet. We had a bat in the house. Here's my credit card.
Mhm.
I have a leak. Here's the money for dinner. I need to pay my check. Those immediate needs, you can see someone whose wallet is open, ready to buy. Ivan Meisner said it best when I had a chance to meet him in person. 200 networkers in a room, and they were feverish. It was hot, and I had worked check in 125 people, so I was not networking. I had basically seen all the people come in. I needed some time to chill. And I'm in this quiet room and he's preparing for his speech with a glass of water. And the cool thing he said was when he started his presentation, and it was much later, he says, Who who is ready to buy something today? 200 people almost in the room. One person raised their hand. And he says, Oh, you came to buy something today. He says, Yeah. He says, all of you who are spending time trying to sell something, she's the only person who wants to buy something, who's ready to buy, who's willing to buy today. And he says, Do you mind telling me what you're willing to buy today? She says, I need makeup. And she says, What do you need? She says, Oh, I need a new highlight or lipstick or a toner or whatever it was. And he says, Who do you need it from? He says, Oh, she says, from my facial care consultant. And he says, Is she here? She says, She sure is. And he said to the facial consultant, Did you know she was ready to buy today? She says, Not an idea. He says, Did you even talk to her today? She says, No, I haven't. He says, after we stop this, how quickly will you go and get the product that she needs out of your car, or take the money to process the sale? And it was interesting because it talked about the speed of a transaction, the speed with which someone pays us, the speed with which you monetize. And only one person was ready to buy. And it's a reminder, you go to networking events with people, they just want to sell stuff. I have a package. I have an offer. I have the best shoe. I have the best pastry. You may have samples. You may have all of that. But underneath it, like Cheryl says, that ability, introvert, extrovert, deep, active listener, we're doing the opposite today. I'm talking more than I love to listen. So for Carla, the chemistry part, when you're playing in a lab, other than hanging out with Mel on the back end, where are you going to create that lab to invite your clients in? It's going to be a Zoom room. Is it going to be a LinkedIn video call? Is it going to be a Facebook Messenger call? Think of, I'm hearing you. Maybe you don't have the phone number right away, but maybe you're connected on Meta or Facebook. Maybe
Right.
you're on LinkedIn and you can get to a point in a message where there's a direct opportunity to invite them. They taught me also on LinkedIn recently, I appreciate them, the concept of what they call pitch slap. Somebody connects with you just to send you something. Somebody connected with me yesterday. Sharnetta, I have to appreciate you for being there because I went through every connection request I had on LinkedIn and had to clean them out. And this person is in your field, Carla. And this is the second time that somebody said, I have a solution for you. And in the back end of my mind, I'm like, I haven't identified a problem. I haven't asked you for help. I haven't described a challenge. And here you are with new shoes. I wear Crocs. or sneakers. Unless I'm at a gala. You're here. I got shoes. I got shoes. I got shoes. I don't need shoes. I need water shoes for the beach in a couple of months. And I think that's the thing. Are we a good fit? So that alignment part, it's challenging because we mentioned a lot of different keys and areas to pull from. It's kind of like you pulling from what you do, but I love that you're going to use video to reach more ideal future clients.
And Melly was talking about the chemistry. I think one of the things that I perk up and try to pay attention to when I'm talking with someone is that I'm the type of person I go, 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 go. Get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done. And that can really terrify some people. If they're more of a slow, we'll get it done, but let's be cautious or something like that, then my eagerness and my quickness, it would be something we would both have to work on so far as our chemistry to be able to work together, I think. And that's something
So,
that I try to pay attention to.
so while we're doing it, my words of the year are cadence, that beat, that timing part, and kaleidoscope, the vision part. If your vision is a successful completed project within a certain time frame, then maybe one of your exploratory questions in a conversation with them, or maybe one of your discovery call questions, involves, is this a time sensitive project? Because my sister from another mother, Marie, wrote, oh boy, one of my pet peeves. And it's true. I talk all the time and I get in trouble for it sometimes about Pillsbury Doughboys or Doughgirls. There's a point with accountability when serving our client when they need to. One of my clients has been a client for 2.5 years. They bought a $600 package, 3 hours, and when they signed up, I had no idea that they were in law school. And my nephew just graduated law school and they already were working a job. So you had a job, you were in law school, they were an actor. So they were doing creative stuff, educational stuff. And you try to start a business with a product that they weren't designing, that they were offering. The timing for them, we could see from the beginning because I appreciate bringing Rick in and Jonathan because they needed social media and it was a tech product and tech was not my stuff. So I brought in amazing people who could possibly mentor them. In the process, I learned how creative he was. Mel's strength is really, really creative. How do I help you differentiate yourself in a crowded market, in any market, in a national market, global market? And this young man, so creative, he had more questions than my teacher's brain would ask in 10 minutes. So 20 minutes was the length of our session. So we broke up his 3 hour package into 9 sessions, and he hasn't used all 9 yet. I learned with this client, ask him to come with his bullet points and share them with me the day before. So for each 20-minute session, I suggested, can you try not to come with more than 5? And he smiled. He says, I have more ideas than that. I said, yeah, I know. So he came with 5 things to talk about in 20 minutes, and we'd spend however much time. And I was flexible in the sense that sometimes we needed a little more time to talk about that last idea. And the last part I would add in to whatever 5 things he wanted to talk about were the plan your next steps and dive part. And that's the key in instead of homework in my course, that's the implementation key. It's up to you to plan your next steps and dive. And when you want to, I'm here with your scuba equipment. I got extra oxygen for you. You need some fins, you need, some water, some whatever it is, you need the safe lab to play in. And I think that part about the planning part, you plan based on the action plan. It's just like the blueprint you gave me for the course. It's beautiful. It's thorough, well thought out. You're ahead of them. Wait for them to catch up. It's hard, but the cadence part, the timing part, your timing, you're already acknowledging your style is not the same as your client's style. You're ready to do it and get it done so that there's a check mark next to it. And maybe your client isn't a check mark kind of person. Maybe theirs is a, if I have time. And you'll laugh because these are some implementation things. If you think of working with your client, of when you see the workbook, there's a my plan section. Maybe the my plan section is just like the the 3 columns we made, where you're asking your client something about the timing of the project, something about the ways that they'll give you information for next steps for the project. And it'll at least allow you to know, if I don't hear from you by phone, you said send you an email. You said send you a text. You said, send out the Batmobile. You said reach out on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever it is. And it then will help you with the timing part of it. But when you're dividing that on the implementation sheet, I'll send you, that's one of the pages. It has top priorities. You and I, in working together recently, We're now talking about a priority list. Find out your client's top priorities and then split that column with what are Carla's, and keep the Carla top priorities to the side because you're listening, you're discovering, you're trying to take it in because you're hoping they'll sign the proposal. You're hoping to to complete the project. Every part of this, there's a minimum of 2 columns. Really think of it as 3. Here's what my client's thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. And here's that other part that we haven't mentioned yet. Using us as an example, when I talked to you about my course, you sent me a blueprint. That would be in the 3rd column. One day, Mel's going to mention that blueprint. And I'm going to remind her I sent it to her, but I have it bookmarked. Or one day, Mel's going to say, how do I organize the channel? Carla, how do I use TubeBuddy? Whatever those questions are, put them in the 3rd column. Your client may not be ready for them yet. Maybe it's a future resource that you add to the videos you're planning, because maybe there's other people at that same challenge stage that your client's at that are in that same process. Because one client is like the plumber. I need to book you today. When can you come fix this leak? My water heater, God forbid, broke. When can you come replace my heater? My air conditioning's out. My car is not working. When can a mechanic fix it? Those time sensitive, build that part into your priorities. Build, because the timing's really important to you. The column you're not going to like on implementation is if I have time. You're not going to like that Carla column. And from your client's perspective, it can wait. I'd like to do this. Like, even Rick and I were talking about Be Visible Solutions and the website we're going to be building for BeVisibleSolutions.com. And he was like, what's the timing? And we're playing with a timing program he was showing. And I'm like, pick a date in 4 months. And he says, why 4 months? I said, got some other stuff I need to do before then. And for Mel, there are elements that'll be in the it can wait. Just like the client that I talked to you about before, he was really creative. Think of a create column. These are things you're interested in. Your client will need you to provide future resources in this area. Maybe it's an introduction to a collaborative partner. Maybe it's, Carla, in 6 months, Cheryl's planning a summit. And, Carla, in a year, I'm planning a summit. What will I need to create for that in a year? And what maybe is something you'll know 6 months out. Hey, are you still planning on creating this? It's a curiosity question. Davis would say it's a wonder question. It's the, I'm here to support you. I'm here to play with you question. And that's the part of monetization. Just like Ivan Meisner said with those people, who was ready to buy? One person out of almost 200. There was a lot of hot air in the room. A lot of people trying to sell stuff. A lot of people trying to create collaborations and build local, regional, national businesses. The speakers that day were international speakers. And I met this amazing woman, Hazel Walker. And Hazel Walker said, if you got a lot of ideas, you need a very large team. She says, they may not be in place right now. She says, otherwise, you're going to be really busy. You're not going to have a chance to live a free and full life. She says, I have a very, very large team. And we laughed because she had an international team in Australia and she had a team in the US. And then she had collaborators all over the world that could help her fill in the missing pieces. She said this, and somebody said it later. Are you a lifestyle business, local, or are you a global business? Eve said this best in terms of personal branding. And and how we build trust. And the reminder to break it down, break your brand down to what areas you want to create trust in, because that part is the transparency part. I would love to build relationships. And Cheryl said it before. She's looking for podcasts. She's looking for stages. They are international. She will show up virtually and live, and both. And because of that, you need underneath this, we need the flexibility part. And I know we dove in a lot, really deep with Carla. And we do this in implementation sessions. And there's a link that I'm going to share with you to book one. The opportunity to connect on whatever level, at whatever pace within your resources, whether you're doing it individually, whether you're doing it with a team, whether you're doing it by yourself, when you're dreaming of inviting a partner in or collaborators. Underneath here, we talked about resistance a little bit in our current climate in a very fragile world. We talked about people who aren't ready to hear what we have to say. So then we need to be in a listening mode. We have other people, they're not ready to invest. To share an offer is a risk. To invite them in is a potential risk. It's quicksand, it's a pothole. We talked about approach. Are you in that plane? Are you outside the plane? And for those of you who've seen me do StreamYard before, I do a lot with a lot of banners. And I promise you, I will set up in the group I invite you to on Meta. Under each of these, under Elevate Your Blend, there'll be a handout. Under Magnetize, there will be a quote. There may be a handout. Under Trust, there may be an invitation on ways to build trust. Under Align, you're going to find a handout with the 7 learning styles we talked about. Under Leverage, you're going to get a handout on creating connections. And the chemistry part, the energy, that fuel part, play with it. Whether you're playing with it on the sheet we started out with for strategies to create your blend, or whether you're playing with it on an implementation page, which has some of the goodies I was just talking about Carla about, your top priorities, your plans. All of these handouts are going to be inside the group. I did it in the masterclass. I'm a teacher's kid, and one of the dangers of being a teacher's kid is being able to drown you in slides. No interest in doing that. What Carla will laugh about is we only had 5 slides. And in the process of the 5 slides, I just want to say to you, I really just want to say thank you. That this, you would say, is one of the signs of plan your next steps and dive. And I'm inviting you to join me for a private implementation session where, just like we did with Carla, and Carla, thank you so much for your transparency and your vulnerability today, is that we have an opportunity. And that's the second part of my course. First part, style. We have an opportunity in that implementation call to dive into how to share your expertise to create communities that are willing to pay you for your solutions. And that part is behind the implementation. Whether Carla's on Meta trying to reach potential clients who need video editing or YouTube support, whether Cheryl has created a networking and a mastermind community to dive in for her gems. Where you create that community is up to you. Some aren't looking for the influence, they're looking for others with influence. And that, in a way, is creating a community. And one of the things I love to do, and there's no bio here because this isn't about me, it's about you. I like to help others who are galvanizing communities, whether you're doing it around events or presentations, whether you're doing it for yourself and a team. I want to help you create trust opportunities. And in the process of creating trust opportunities, I want to help you do that on your own terms, within your own resources, and within your own timing, at your own pace. We can do it together. You can do it in communities. You can do it through a course. You can do it through master classes. Part of this with transparency strategies is the monetized piece. And people have been asking me about this for so long, and it was undercover. It starts with style, it goes to opportunities, it goes to approach. Are we at that airport or are you in a vehicle? And where you want to go? The next part is risks and the strategies piece we took a deep dive into today. So I really want to thank you for joining me today. And I'm staying behind a bit if you have some questions you want answered. And I'm going to share a link. The group I'm inviting you to is called Be Visible Intensive. And for the time being, in that group, there's a lot of other resources. But in that group, I'm going to put creating connections to scale for this masterclass. So you're able to dive into the resources and you didn't have to shuffle through a million pages. And for Marie and people who are at a closing or in a car, it's just an opportunity to help discover. I call the whole course how to really ramp up your engagement style. So you create the business of your dreams for you or your team, in person, online, and both. And it's not for everyone because some people are like, oh, just tell me how to get there. Let me get to the end. I just want to monetize. But your style is how you show up, that energy that you bring. It elevates your blend, it elevates people's response to you. I appreciate it because Jay and I were talking the other day. Jay was on a LinkedIn Live. Oh, thank you so much, Sharnetta. And Jay was on a live the other day, her first LinkedIn Live. And I arrived late. And Carla will know this because she's edited my Impossible Lives where I've disappeared. And Jay's host went poof. I could see the signs because she had shared a comment and she shared a comment. That was my comment, but I typed a comment behind it. I typed a comment to Jay like, hey, Jay, how are you? I see you, meaning somebody you know is here. But the person who was giving the live, her name was Melanie. And I didn't want to introduce myself in a comment for Jay. So my next comment was, Melanie, oh, great to be in your show. And it would have been funny because it's Melanie from Melanie. She puts up this comment that I wrote to Jay and freezes. And I know this woman's about to disappear. And this is the part behind the energies part that we need to be aware of. I could see what was going to happen next because we understand the risks. We understand it from our systems because it's happened to us. If there's something I could share to help you or somebody you know build a relationship with care in your own style without feeling icky, because for so many years, people helped me feel icky in situations. So with transparency, If we're not connected on Meta yet, reach out. Let's connect, and I'll hook you up into that group, and I'll structure it so that this recording is in there. It's also available on demand. If you want to invite someone into the community, a great way to invite them in would be save the date for Be Visible Shift Celebration. Our next Be Visible Shift Celebration is on September 27th from 10 to 1 p.m. Eastern. There are 3 components to it. I'll send you an invite. Come pop in, no expense, no cost. Come as my guest. Bring a glass and invite friends. And the way to help share that is invite people who like to network, whether they want to network in audio rooms, whether they want to network on LinkedIn, whether they want to pop into a LinkedIn Live or a LinkedIn audio, or join us at the kickoff where we join each other at Zoom. And Jay suggested each person who comes to each component will have an opportunity to get into a drawing to win a full blown version of this course. Price tag for this course just under $500, $497. And I'm going to give 3 of them away at Be Visible Shift Celebration. Qualifications would be come join me and support, come invite some guests. There's a link to Be Visible Shifts Celebrate. It's on my website, bevisible.solutions. I will share it in the group. I will share it out. If you could help me shout out that link, woo, a lot more entries to win a free course. And that course for the 497 includes an hour of direct support, no expiration, transferable. If an individual buys it and then wants to share it with their team, we'll have to talk about that because the hour will have to be built differently. If a person is having trouble building trust, specifically, you're in financial services, you're in insurance, you're in a really crowded market, there's somebody who you feel does what you do around every corner. We need some more time to help you differentiate and find your lane. But thank you so much for joining me. I promise, Cheryl, I will share it in the group. And the next thing I'm going to do after we raise a glass, it is almost, for those of you who have been here for a bit, and Carla knows we raise a glass, and Carla may not have any beverage near her. All right, beautiful. We are going to raise a glass. Ooh, that was good. We're going to raise a glass. We're going to thank you for joining us. We're going to thank Carla for popping out with transparency and vulnerability. And you rock. But Carla has been here for every masterclass and the full blown thing. And Carla is implementing. And when you're ready, reach out to plan your next steps and dive, and let's stay in touch. But I really want to thank you. I always said, have a magnificent day. Have a magnificent day filled with potential and opportunities. Have a magnificent day that brings you what you're looking for, whether it's monetization, whether it's transformation, whether it's galvanizing communities, whether it's speaking gigs, whether it's opportunities on campuses, whether it's paralegals, whether it's Jay's Sales Success Society, whether it's some of the factors in D Hoke's amazing intergenerational handout. Thank you so much. But be very safe and stay in touch, please. and have an absolutely magnificent day. Take great care and thank you so much. Be well.